milk
Substitutes.
alternative. Could we start again? We are going to go through a couple different ones. Why don't we start off with a couple of good facts?
68%, 52%.
It almost curdled.
Didn't really get to taste Ethiopian damu.
The soy milk.
Yeah. An almond substitute.
Oat milk. Invisible to the coffee.
Yeah. I bought the decaf, but you said, nah, let's use the other one.
Heavy warm butter. Welcome to
Bean stuff.
Today on the episode, we are talking about milk alternative. Ooh, substitutes, is it?
Either way.
Either word, substitutes, alternatives. Either way, it's not milk, but you're using it in place of said milk. Could we start again? That's really funny. I just told you substitutes. You were told to be fair to everybody listening, we did talk about this right before we started. And I have failed to remember that. We are going to go through a couple different ones. And what we're going to do is we are going to talk a little about it. We're going to go through 3. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk a little bit about it. We're going to go through each one. And as we're going through each one, we'll kind of walk through it, taste it with coffee, and then go through the next one, talk about it, and then taste it with coffee. Give kind of our opinion.
Yeah, I think it's good. And it's a big thing out there. I mean, in my day, it was you had black. And then there was a lot of, when I came to America, there was half and half, which always confused. I thought it was half cream and half milk, but it was something different, whatever. Oh, no. I thought it was half and half in terms it was less, it was like a fat-free milk. It was only half of the whole milk. Oh. I went badly wrong.
It's very much more fatty. Mm-hmm. But, so I think it'll be good because you are right. There are a lot of people doing milk alternatives for health reasons or just for the sake of doing it. Yeah. And there's some pretty well-known ones out there. So why don't we start off with a couple of good facts to kind of get us going.
Facts. Well, I know I looked it up, and 68% of people who drink coffee will add creamer, half and half milk, or a non-dairy alternative to their coffee. It's just that's quite big.
So over half.
Yeah. And I also found out actually of that group, the National Coffee Association found that who prefer to have white coffee, to whiten their coffee, they like 50,
to add milk.
Yes, it's clear. 52% prefer creamer. 21% use half and half.
Okay. 19%
use whole milk, and 8% prefer a non-dairy milk alternative.
And just to give a quick baseline. As baseline as we can in this episode, which do you add to your coffee if you're going to add something?
To my black coffee, I will add nothing. In fact,
no, but if you were to add, the question was not what do you add, or if you were to add, what would it be?
If I were to add, I'd probably add whole milk.
Yeah,
the fattiest one I could probably
4%.
Find. Yeah. Probably.
I would do the same. I would also do whole milk, especially in a French press or even in like an espresso or something. And that's, I think, another piece of it is where you get a lot of milk added, like milk alternatives is in your espressos and those kind of things.
That's where the big changes for me. Yeah,
you can do it in obviously any coffee, but more you're going to find it with coffees that require milk.
That's right. You can start with your latte that has just a humongous amount of milk.
Right.
Bring it all the way to a flat white, then you can get really exciting and do a cortado, and it's getting less and less at that point.
Exactly. So I guess one thing I want to kind of go through real quick is. Let's go through, and there's a photo, so if anyone's watching the video, we'll put that photo up there if we can muster up the ability to do so.
I'm sure you can.
But for those who are not watching, so those who are listening, let's walk through from kind of a rich and creamy to thin and watery. So I think if it is like 4% or whole milk to skim milk, what is as far as some of the common alternatives to milk? What does that scale look like?
Yeah, I mean, I one side I looked at 10 different ones. On this photo, I think we've just got 8. But you're talking about starting if you went for one extreme, and they all have the advantages and disadvantages. It's not like one's better than the other as such. But the rich and creamy you're talking about oat is probably one of the more rich and creamy ones out there.
So oat's on the rich and thick creamy side.
Yep. And do you want me to go through them all? Or I
guess go from thickest to thinnest.
Yeah. And the ones I've got on here, then there's soya comes after that.
And really quickly, right as you say that soya, we had this debate as well right before we started. But I did Google it. In the States, we say soy, but it is a soya bean.
That's interesting.
That it comes from.
And it's interesting when I was doing my research, when I cut and paste, it always cut and paste soya milk. So it's like, it was interesting. On this diagram, it says soya.
Yeah.
Then you move to coconut, cashew, almond, hemp, and then rice, which would be the thinnest and most watery.
So we've got oat on the thick side, the thickest, rice on the thinnest, and kind of cashew in the middle, with almond just a little bit thinner than cashew.
Correct. Yeah.
So those are the ones we're going to go through. We're not going to go through all those. Like we said earlier, we only have the 3. So, but the ones we're going to taste test today are going to be soy.
You can say it either way.
Soy, almond milk, and then we do have 2 types of oat milk.
Yep.
So in the podcast world, it may have only been a split second, but in the real world where we were making this podcast, we went and made a type of coffee. We made some coffee.
Yeah, I decided I made some Ethiopian damu, which I'm really enjoying at the moment.
Oh, mate.
It doesn't really matter. It's funny you should say. One of the workers there, I was showing them the difference between damu and the Sumatra there.
Yeah.
There's another whole podcast. I think we did wet held.
I think we did at one point, but
tell me what you see the difference. It's just amazing. But this is what we're going to be drinking today.
Yeah, and so we made that in a French press.
Yeah.
We poured probably about a half a cup into each of our cups, and then we used a tablespoon of this one was soy milk.
Yep.
One thing that we noticed
immediately,
we poured it in, stirred it, and it almost looks like in the cup. And this is going to sound terrible. So for those of you who like soy milk. It almost curdled.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
So we haven't tasted this yet. So this is just straight coffee with just a tablespoon of soy milk. So about a half cup of coffee and a tablespoon of soy milk. So let's dig in.
Try it.
I think what I want to first say, is let's go through a couple of the points that you looked at earlier today. There were some positives, some minuses that you were seeing online and just in what people were saying. One positive was it was easy to use. I think most of these are probably pretty easy to use.
And a lot of these are probably for baristas too, who are using it a lot as a milk and frothing that milk.
So that's true. So this one would be easy in kind of a multitude of scenarios. It's and you said good for baristas, but it's good for starting out baristas. It's not challenging and that not extremely additionally challenging. One of the minuses was there's potentially a lot of food additives, and obviously that's going to be different based on brand.
It's plus and minus. It's not some that has some don't. So it depends.
Right. And then this one was interesting. Taste quite artificial and can be overpowering.
Yes, and the first taste I had, and I had to have a second taste because I'd just been talking about our Ethiopian damu, and guess what? I didn't really get to taste the Ethiopian damu when I tasted that coffee. I tasted something different. And the artificial part, I think it did. It just seemed clinical or something. It wasn't as normal as I was.
It's got a smoothness to it.
Yeah.
But you can definitely taste there's something in there that's not milk.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
I would say that for me, the curdling is a little bit interesting. I set my cup down after drinking it, and kind of like you could see stuff kind of coming up from the bottom.
You can see it on the thing, but that would put me off.
It does put me off
a little bit of just the looking and they go, ugh.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Some may say, well, don't have it when it's so hot or something. There may be ways to put it in. I don't know, but the way we just did it doesn't look good, and it doesn't grab me.
For some people, it might work, but for me, I'm going to say it's not my favorite so far.
Not so far. We may find it's a really good one after we do the other ones.
To be fair, it is also my favorite so far because it's the only one we've done.
Exactly.
But
wonderful.
To be determined if it will still be our favorite after the rest.
That's true.
So on to the next one.
Okay. Milk Alternative 2.
So again, in the podcasting world, it would have been instant. But in the real world, we went and made another coffee.
With another conversation.
So, Dad, what are we putting in this one?
This one's an almond substitute. And so the last one was the soya. This is the almond one. They say this is really good for latte art, I should say.
Arte latte.
Yeah. It's good for that. It's good for that too.
Yeah.
You got to watch the temperature, they say. But we were surprised the last one how it sort of curdled so quickly. It's like separated and split. It's like, wow, that's not good.
Yeah.
This one, we put it in. We're using exactly the same coffee, the same Ethiopian damu coffee again. And It looks good. Nothing's
Nothing
strange.
curdled. It was a consistent looked good. I think one of the things it was saying online, it was like too much sweetness sometimes.
Some said that, yes, and therefore almost like putting too much sugar in or something. It doesn't really complement the coffee. It just sort of overtakes the coffee somehow. I don't know. We're going to find out.
Yeah, well, I think it's time to sip then.
Oh, good.
I don't want to be impulsive, but I quite like that.
So do I. Way better than that last one.
It almost is invisible to the coffee.
Yeah.
At least, again, different coffees might have different things. It may be that almond milk complements the already, like the flavor profile of that coffee.
Exactly.
But so
I'm
far,
impressed.
the texture's even better.
Oh, yes. And
the whole lack of curdling is good.
I like the lack of curdling. And for me is good. I can taste the Ethiopian damu. I can taste that. It's not disappeared on me.
Right.
So the whole thing of too sweet, I don't know if it is. Even it's got a little sweetness. There's
I think
a
this
slight
coffee
change
is
there.
naturally has a nice brightness to it, which could kind of maybe merge with that. But definitely, I said the last one was my favorite only because it was the only one we tried at the time.
You've got a new favorite?
I've got a new favorite and a new least favorite.
Another interesting thing, the first one I drank one sip, or two sips to be trying to be, good.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. This one, as you are, we're into our fourth and fifth sip already.
I know I got to stop because we have another one to go, and it's late at night as we record this.
That's right. And I bought the decaf, but you said, nah, let's use the other one.
So we're back with some fresh coffee, some fresh milk alternatives, and we are doing oat milk this time.
That's right. That's right.
You noticed something similar to the soy milk is that it's kind of trying to curdle almost.
It did try, not as much as the first one did, but this one...
And when we say curdle, it's not like chunks. It's just
a
little bit.
Separating in some way. It's not
it's like
fusing together.
Not quite the same. So this might be a bad example, but like olive oil in water. You just never quite get it to fully mix.
When you do just normal cow's milk, you don't usually get that at all. It goes in. You notice if it's lighter or it's thinner, I should say, or creamier. We did notice when we put this in, it definitely seemed to have a more creamy,
very thick kind of look to it.
As just by itself, it looked creamy and thicker. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's give the old test here. This might sound weird, but this is what I feel.
What do you feel, Reed?
It immediately, as you sip it, it's like a big ball of heavy warm butter, oat milk on the mid part of your tongue.
It's got a lot of viscosity. It's body.
It's quite viscous.
Quite viscous.
But as you swallow it, there's almost it's almost like the coffee in your mouth travels as a one unit, and it almost leaves a thinness after the coffee's gone that I didn't get. Like, it doesn't coat my mouth, I guess is what I'm trying to say, as much as I feel like the other ones did.
No, I agree. And it's not leaving me with as much flavor of the Ethiopian damu.
It's like after you swallow, it's just all gone.
Yeah. Whereas the almond, I was left with a coffee note.
I would say, though, that I'm not getting... It's almost like it hasn't... at least with this flavor profile, it doesn't seem to have added too much of its own flavor.
No, I agree. It hasn't added its own, but it's taken away a little bit from the coffee flavor.
I would say it's affected the coffee for sure, but it hasn't like introduced something new. When you're looking online and stuff, what kind of stuff were you finding about oat milk?
Oat milk, it was the most popular for a start, and I'm thinking more of baristas. And when I was talking to the staff, they had a high opinion of this oat milk, and they particularly like Oatly, which we're going to try in a moment.
Yeah,
they did say it had a certain taste to it, but they really liked that taste.
Interesting.
Which is interesting for me too, is in terms of I'm not looking to like another taste. We've bought coffee from Ethiopia. That's the cup I've tasted with no milk, no alternatives at all.
Right.
That's what I want to taste. So to say it tastes nice but different, I'm going, ooh, just a moment. I want it to taste the same.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is. I feel like it's almost like a cleanser. Like I really don't get a lot of coffee aftertaste, and maybe I'm.
Yeah, I agree. I like the way you said the aftertaste. It's almost like hot water.
That's where it's very thick and heavy, and then as you swallow, it's like hot water left in your mouth.
I've noticed. I'm looking. It's actually come together again. It's not curdled or separated. My one hasn't anyway.
You can kind of see a little bit, but it's definitely, as far as like in between almond and soy, it's kind of a middle ground. It's not completely mixed in, but it has not curdled quite the same way. And I think I'd agree with you. I think within popular culture, I feel like there's a good stigma, if that's a thing, around oat milk, like especially Oatly, things like that. And not to say that they're not good, but it just, I feel like there's a culture around that says that for coffee, oat milk is kind of the way to go.
Yes.
And I think if I had to at the moment, I would say almond milk for me
I agree.
was good. And again, this could change based on the coffee you have.
And I was thinking something else in that too is we should really do this with milk only.
Yeah, well, maybe
4%, 3%, 2%. We could. It'd be interesting how we taste it then as well. I don't think the taste is going to change so much as the viscosity of the body of the coffee is going to change.
Yeah, I think the taste might change a little bit. Yeah.
That 4% fat, I think it adds to me a nice dimension to it.
And one thing, so we're going to try Oatly next. We had what was it, Simply?
Yes,
Simply Organic.
Fred Meyer. Yes, I think so. Yeah.
We'll put all the descriptions and stuff.
I tried to get just the basic ones that you just get out of the freezer. There was no.
None of them are in the freezer, but all of them are in the refrigerator section.
And I tried not to get the vanilla ones and all the flavored ones. So it's all unsweetened. It's all trying to be as basic as we can.
And we'll put descriptions to all of them so you know exactly which ones that we tried, or the ones that we tried were. But the next one we're going to try is going to be Oatly. And we are back with the third and final one. And by back, I mean we just went and made another cup of coffee. So we're back now with Oatly, which is that's a brand of oat milk.
Exactly.
And the reason that we have two oat milks today is this one is a specific one for baristas. I actually got on the table here. What is it called, Dad?
Oh, yeah, it's just Oatly, and it says Oat Milk Barista Edition. And particularly made, it's got no dairy, no nuts, no gluten like the other ones in some ways. So not that they all have that, but
it's probably got oats.
Yeah, I would think so. In fact, we're going to perhaps taste some of this just straight out too, just so we can get the difference. It reminded me of my morning porridge, my morning oatmeal.
Yeah. And I would say it does seem like it's curdled less.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I didn't even look at it. Yeah, didn't start doing it.
So let's give this one a little sip. I think the best way to describe it for me, and I still fall back to the warm ball of butter and you swallow. It's almost like after you swallow, you salivate. And so you get kind of this like water-like consistency in your mouth. I know that's such a petty thing, but
I know what you're saying. It doesn't actually, funny enough, it's got a nice body to it. I agree with that. It's got a creaminess to it. Not as much, funny enough, and I thought this would have more, being a barista edition, as the oat milk we just had, the Simple Truth, I think it was called. That was that make.
Simple, yeah.
But I agree. That aftertaste is very, very. It's got a little bit of oat to it, obviously, and it's got a little bit of, and it's very watery though. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not tasting strongly the Ethiopia, the Damu.
I would say I think this one, the Oatly and potentially the almond milk for me are kind of on a similar level. Like, so you've just taken a second sip.
That's correct.
And I think, I can't remember.
I agree with you.
I've taken a couple, and I think I'm not deterred by it.
No. Which ones we were deterred by?
Was the soy one.
The soy we got.
I think for me, the biggest thing in the soy was the curdling.
Yeah, but then it didn't taste good either. Something it changed. I know it wasn't taste good, but it just changed things.
Right.
Whereas this one, I like the consistency of it. I do like that. And I'm sure if I was having coffee, I would start to differentiate different coffees I'm having. Yeah. I could see this. I could see this could work. Yeah,
this could find its way into your fridge. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Bean Stuff Coffee podcast. Let us know if there's anything you want to hear about, and we'd be happy to consider it. All right. Hey, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again in the next episode.